quite bright walking into the sun, I think. Ooh. Mushrooms of some sort. So yesterday was a very exciting day on the Shapers of Worlds Volume 2 Kickstarter funded anthology front. That's the anthology featuring short fiction by authors who were guests during the second year of my Aurora award-winning podcast, The World Shapers, science fiction and fantasy. I sent the files to the printer and approved the proof, and it's in production. That's for the Kickstarter version, which will go out to the backers in mid-October. They tell me they'll have the book by October 20th. I hope it's sooner than that, since I got the proof already approved and it's on the way, but we'll see. Then I have to get them the mailing list, which is pretty much done. There's a couple of people who haven't given me their addresses, but since I'm not hearing from them, I'll probably go ahead and send the mailing list and take care of those separately if they ever come in, instead of having the printer send them out. The ebooks I can actually do anytime, but I'm going to give them a few days just to see if I catch any more typos, because there's always another typo. Hold on one second, I'm going to give my lens here a quick brush, just in case it's got fingerprints on it, which it sometimes does. There you go. I do have another project that's going to keep me tied up for a few days, so this will probably be my last video for about a week. Don't panic, I'll be back. I'll be back on YouTube before you know it. We're still hanging in there. Awfully close to frost last night, but it probably didn't quite, so I think I'll walk clockwise today around the lake, because I tend to go counterclockwise. So I'll vary it up a little bit. Maybe upgrading to an iPhone 13 in the not too distant future. I don't know what that will mean live streaming wise. I better check the dimensions to make sure it'll actually fit in my gimbal here, but I always go with the mini if need be, but I don't want to do that. I also don't want the biggest one, so the one in the middle would be fine. Supposed to have a tremendous camera, but this one had a tremendous camera compared to the one before that, which had a pretty good camera, so. Morning, Miriam, in India. Going around the lake today. It's just above freezing. 2 degrees as I set out. Might be up to 3 by now. I will take the underpass here with the murals. Let's see if the number of people around the lake is down because of the slightly chillier weather. That might be. Okay, we'll go clockwise this time. That means I'll be walking right into the sun with the glare off the water, so I probably won't even be able to see the screen here in a minute. Can't really see it now. I put it right in front of my eyes to block the glare. I can kind of see it. I hear geese. There'll be lots of those around today. Hi, Colleen. Well, it's not quite our anniversary. That's on Monday. But thank you. Those are gulls. Gulls on the water. Geese in the sky. Ooh, that's bright. That is so bright. Lights up the trees nicely behind me. Lots of color now, lots more than last week when I came around. Ah! And the crows having words. There's the gazebo. Hi, Tim. Oh, there's the crow. That was talking to me. Oh, that's better. Well, I won't be here walking on Monday because of this other thing I have to do. So today was the day to say. As I said off the top, got a project that will keep me from doing this for a week. And so this is my last one for a week. But I will be back. Oh, that's bright.
That I haven't got shot. Let me ask. What is there for or against? It's very troubling. What color is it? It's not the green. And he presumes.
I think I'll stick to the path instead of taking the shortcut this morning. Nice to get the shade anyway. Over there is where they're working on the new pool. That's been going on all summer. Don't know how far they've gotten. I haven't been close enough to see it recently. I presume they're hoping to have it open next summer, but I don't know that for sure. So what do I do today? Well, the other thing I did was prepare all the packages for people who ordered the first book of the 2 anthologies, which was an option in the Kickstarter. So I've got 30 packages to mail. So when I get back, first thing I'll do is prepare the customs documents for the ones that are going to the US or overseas. And then I'll take those probably down to the main post office because of the number and complexity of the task. $700 worth of postage later. I may have to boost my Kickstarter next year. Trouble is, if you boost it too high and you don't make it, you don't get any money, and then the project's dead. If you at least make it, then you can worry about covering any expenses that you didn't quite cover by budgeting too low. It's a delicate balance. Always nice to attractive and autumnal. Like this work is mostly done. They were putting in a new bit of sidewalk here with a wheelchair ramp onto the path from the parking lot, which makes sense to do that. And of course, I always have to stop here and say that's Willow Island, and my young adult fantasy series Shards of Excalibur begins here when the Lady of the Lake shows up in that patch of water. And there's stairs going down into the water. My main character follows the stairs and because she hears singing. And it turns out that she's heir to the power of the Lady of the Lake if she will accept it. Spoiler, she does. And she and her friend, well, not really a friend, she's barely met him, Wally Knight, have to find the scattered shards of Arthur's sword Excalibur before Merlin can. He's the bad guy, kind of. And his modern day guise is Rex Major, who's like a Bill Gates, Steve Jobs kind of computer guy. Right off the end of Willow Island there. And it ends in Wescana Lake too. Another spoiler, but when the sword is reforged, they throw it into the lake. So Excalibur is sitting of Willow Island. So you won't be able to find it, but that's where it is. You know I'm telling the truth because you can't find it. If I wasn't telling the truth, you'd be able to find it because it wouldn't be magically hidden, right? Right. 5 books: Song of the Sword, Twist of the Blade, Lake in the Clouds. Available through Shadowpaw Press or Kindle or Amazon. Currently only on Amazon. I'm planning to relaunch the series in October and see if I can scare up some more sales for it. I really like it. But it is available in both ebook and print through Amazon in the new Shadowpaw Press editions. You can also order directly from Shadowpaw Press, oddly enough, the Kato Books editions. Kato Books went out of business, and I picked up a lot of the stock, thinking I would sell it at, Sask Expo, and none of those things have happened now for a couple of years. Don't know if they'll be back or not. More backlit leaves for your morning aesthetic pleasure. Over there. Certainly a pretty time to be walking this time of year. And then it's just bare trees and brown until the snow comes. Then it's just white, basically. But only for 6 months, so, you know. And the lake will freeze over, of course. I'll keep doing it unless the weather is so frightful I don't think I can make it around without frostbite. There will be days like that. Quite breezy this morning, and the wind is chill over here. Thanks, Colleen. I'm right, I forgot you'd read them. They were a lot of fun to write, and they were written quickly too. At least the last 3 were, because they had them coming out every 6 months. Let's see, I could stay up here or go down by the water. I guess I'll go down by the water today since it's still, the fountain won't be going, but footbridge. A good sense of the way the trees are changing over there on the far side. Platform is for the rowing club when they have events on the lake. So there is an aeration fountain I've often shown here, but those have all been turned off, it appears. The other one would have been over when I first started. And it's not there. So, quick panorama here. Our house is right in that direction. And then downtown, it's kind of slightly blocked by the trees, but it's directly behind us to the north. You can see the moon is out above the legislature there. It'd be really small, but it's there. I have to start wearing gloves soon. My right hand is actually slightly fewer people with the chill in the air. And I have been encountering on these walks during the height of the summer. Roberts Plaza over there, apartment building. And directly ahead is Bar Willow with the tents up there. And underneath is part of the facilities that were built when the Canada Summer Games were held here right after the lake was deepened. Oh, let's go down there and look at all the gulls. Excuse me. Gulls and two... Oh, no need to fly. I'm not getting any closer. Are those loons? They're not ducks, I don't think. The crow's the only one that got closer. It is pretty this time of year. Well, it's pretty many times of the year, but this is one of the times of the year when it is pretty. Even in the winter, it's pretty in its own bitterly cold, frozen sort of way. There's a couple of geese. So there's the Bar Willow and its deck. Nicest deck in the city because you get to look at the lake. There's been a lot of restaurants in there since I came here 30 years ago. This one's been there quite a while. They renamed themselves. They were called the Willow on Wescana, and they named themselves Bar Willow and redecorated a bit. Here's where you would launch a boat if you had one to launch. One of the places. It's a dragon boat there. No dragon boat races this year. Boat ramp. Another crow. It was last week when I came over the bridge we're coming up to that there was a crow that was jumping ahead of me from railing to railing as I walked by. Two of them, actually. That bridge over there. Once we turn this corner, the sun will be behind me instead of in my eyes. I hear sirens. I hear sirens, but there's no one there. Ah, there we go. So over there is the waterfall. It's still going on Pine Island. We'll be walking over there shortly. The sun flickering through the trees over here. There's that chilly breeze again off the water. No crows escorting me on the bridge today. It's almost mythological, like they were some kind of guiding spirits trying to tell me where to go. And if this was a book, they might be. Over here is the Broad Street Bridge, and the lake continues. I walked over there, of course, many times too, but not as often as here. There's always lots of birds over here too, where the water, the beach, I guess you'd call it, shore, slopes down gently into the water. Some more gulls. There's that breeze again. Not much to say. Just listening to the geese in the distance. There's the bridge to Pine Island, where we will go next. Lots of birds over there, always. Having words with each other. Oh, here's some ducks and pigeons. Somebody must have been feeding them. There's the other bridge we just came over there in the distance. And lots of noisy geese. Don't know what they have to say, but they're very vocal about it this morning. There's the ledge, of course, over there. All right, well, I don't want to get wet, but I'm still going to go under the water, so hopefully I don't get too wet. Under the waterfall. I don't know when they turn it off. They've turned off the other aeration features, but came by here once, there were pelicans under there, but not today. Oh, made it. Only got sprinkled on a little bit. It is blowing spray in my face here, so I'll keep moving. More geese and ducks and geese. We got ducks and geese and geese and ducks and ducks and geese and geese and ducks. And ducks and geese and geese and ducks. And ducks and geese and water in Wescana. Wescana. So, adapted for purpose. The actual song is about driving across northern Ontario, and we've got rocks and trees and rocks and water in Canada, but it works for Wescana with ducks and geese. And if you've never listened to the Arrogant Worms, you should, especially if you're Canadian. Some of their humor is fairly Canadian-centric, like the Mountie song. Or my favorite, the last Saskatchewan pirate. When you see the Jolly Roger on Regina's mighty shores. Well, here's Regina's mighty shores. Giving you views. Kind of rehab in front of us. I walked over by it 2 days ago, I guess. On the other side over there in South Wescana Center. Lots of joggers out. A year ago I was jogging, but my knees wouldn't take it. So I decided to stick to walking. That's Spruce Island over there. It's completely undeveloped, no place to land. Just there for the wildlife. Hello again. For some reason, Piano Man is running through my head. Sing me a song, you're the piano man. Don't know why. Very pretty, autumnal, just like yesterday's walk. I was down in Albert Park neighborhood and I ran into a couple of streets that were just gorgeous with yellow trees. Some of the others were still mostly green, but there were 2 or 3 streets kind of down on the west end toward Pasqua that were very golden and beautiful, should you wish to look. Sunflowers are hanging in there anyway. The tree's a little lopsided, they're kind of pretty. Touch of red, darker orange. Just don't get much red because we don't have maples to speak of. That gold is pretty too. Tennis club is over there. I've walked by it before. There's a path along here somewhere that goes over there because I came along it. could go that way just to be different. Yeah, there it is. Let's go over here and walk by the tennis court today. I did it from the other direction before. The leaves are falling. All the leaves are brown. Not quite yet, but getting there. The tennis courts. Lakeview. There's a little clubhouse, and they have a snack shop in there that you can buy stuff. I never have, but I've seen the sign. A little deck you can sit on. Lake Shore, not Lakeview. Lake Shore Tennis Club, they call it. This is Wescana Lake. I walk around it every Friday, not far from our house. Artificial lake made by damming the creek. It's been a feature. Dam built 1900 or something, very early on. And here's the legislative building again that I walked on the other side of 2 days ago. So the whole conglomerate is called Wescana Center, and it's actually the largest, or one of the largest, I think it's the largest urban park in North America. It's bigger than Central Park, the complete Wescana Center. More strung out though. It's not a nice perfect rectangle like Central Park. Also, lacking the big buildings surrounding it that Central Park has. What's going on here? No view of the fountain. I'm going to go up on the steps of the legislature today. Well, they've been laying pipes here and there. Now, I either follow the sidewalk or I walk across the grass, but the grass is probably damp from dew, so I can go this way. I'll go this way. I've never walked down here. All the times I've walked by, I haven't come down this bit right up next to the building. One of the first times I came over here, I walked up here and ran into an MLA on the steps, so that was kind of cool. Somebody I knew. It's sort of the cornerstones, erected AD 1908 to 1911. This stone was laid by His Excellency Earl Grey, Governor General of Canada, October 4th, 1909. And then Their Majesties King George and Queen Elizabeth visited this building on May 25th, 1939, which is roughly when the Trafalgar Fountain showed up. So this looks out, here's downtown, and the ornamental garden, and the statue of the Queen there. A nice view. trip over these various curbs between here and there. Curbs and steps. So that's a statue of Queen Elizabeth II on her favorite horse, who was Canadian, possibly Saskatchewanian horse, one of her favorite horses, and she dedicated that statue here in 2005 on her visit. And my daughter managed to give her flowers, so right over there. We were standing, it was raining that day, but she took the flowers from my daughter, and I got a close-up picture of the Queen without my daughter in it because of the way it worked. But there she is on her horse. Flowers have not frosted yet, so they're really hanging in there this year. You can even still smell them. There have certainly been years when the flowers would be dead before the trees really changed color. This year we get them both. Hanging in there really well for September the 24th. Some of them are looking a little old, but not like they're frost damaged. There's Walter Scott, the first premier, who was kind of responsible for the building of the legislative building, hence why he's holding blueprints there. I portrayed him once for the Hill Company's centennial. The people who were at the banquet, I guess it was, in the guise of Walter Scott, because he was premier when those companies started. And my premise was that I had taken a time machine, H.G. Wells's time machine to be precise, into the future to see how things had developed in the province, and then I could talk about how things were different in my day. It was fun. And they must have liked it because they flew me to Calgary to do it again there. And I got to make Alberta jokes in front of Premier Klein, was the premier then. So that was fun. Did I do it again? Did I do Walter Scott? I think I did Walter Scott also for the SUMA convention, the Saskatchewan Urban Municipalities Association convention in Saskatoon. I have a memory of that, vaguely. Those would all have been about 2005, in the centennial of the province, so it has been a while. There's the bridge. Very long and goes over very little water. It would span a mighty river, but there is no mighty river here. Well, it'd be a lot higher if it was spanning a mighty river. It wouldn't be so flat. But the dam's right in the middle of it that forms the lake. And of course, what's dammed is the creek that I walk along every Monday and other times of the year too. Geese in flight. Yesterday I had airplanes in flight because the flight path for the airport was right over Albert Park. So I got a couple of shots of airplanes going in for a landing. Mostly little ones, but there was one, I think it was a WestJet. But it wasn't a jet, it was a turboprop. One good sized one. Once more across the creek. If you cross the bridge once, you have to cross it again to get back. Any birds over there? I doubt it. There hasn't been for a while. I think the pelicans are gone, possibly. They have already migrated. Last look at the very bright lake. And then we're heading back under the bridge. As I often say, the only houses in Lakeview that actually have a lake view, probably those two, and really just the one on the right has a really good one. Thus we pass Albert Street. Just a couple of blocks and we're home, where I am. I wonder where you are. Make that joke all the time too. Sorry. I know I repeat myself. On the other hand, I think the average viewing time is only about 8 minutes, so nobody watches these things start to finish, or hardly anybody. So I could say the same thing every 10 minutes or so, and nobody would know. Very red berries on that. I think that's a mountain ash. Those trees, we have one in our front yard. Chance to crunch some leaves. You're welcome. Some nice tomato garden that's been planted at the end of the Hello. Having school dead ahead. And practically home. Adios. So look for my next one in about a week. Probably a week from Sunday, actually, at the earliest. But I will be back. Just have to take care of some other things. All right, we'll stop here. Thanks for walking with me, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.